Okay, so in this unit of lighting fixtures, let's talk a little bit about cyc lighting. A cyc is nothing more than a neutral colored piece of fabric typically in the back of the stage that's designed to have color projected on it. It's really all it is, right? So it's a big sheet that's hanging on the back wall, and we just paint light all over it. So for cyc lighting, we're generally looking to try and achieve an even wash of color. And in this example, we can see that there's a single fixture on the floor and it's projecting a hot spot of light, and then it fades, or it's a gradient as it moves out from the center. Here we have many fixtures along the floor, and these are just individual cyc lights, and they produce a more even wash. Now, this is not a fabulous photo, but it is what it is. But you can still see that the hot spots sort of bleed together, and it makes a more even wash across the bottom, right? So it's many fixtures that are working together. And this is old school, but this looks like a row of A lamps, but these are strip lights. So rather than individual lights that then spread out to light the drop, sometimes we have strip lights along the floor, and the strip lights is a strip of light is really where it gets its name, that run the entire width of a cyc, right? So many fixtures that are working together, and they form a system or a system of light. Now let's look a little bit about a cyc, right? So lighting a cyc from the bottom, which are the examples that I just showed you, right? So you can see that this bottom here and how it has silhouetted these performers because they have no other light on them. And then I believe this is Tevye sitting down here with his card in a follow spot, right? Lighting a cyc from the bottom keeps the viewer's attention low. It grounds us. We are used to light coming from low in the horizon at sunrise and at sunset. It's not atypical. But keeping this light and the energy down low, the energy radiates up from the ground and it creates a more intimate setting. Now, when we change that and we light a cyc from the top, right, it lifts our eye. It gives the space a sense of openness or airiness. You can see that this is just a lot. It just lifts your eye and lifts your space, or it lifts your sense of the space. Here, I'll even go back, right? How it grounds it, and then how it moves our eye up, right? So the other thing about cycs is we can light them from the top and the bottom, right? So this is a cyc that's being lit from the top and the bottom. It looks like in some kind of blue purple at the top and then some kind of orange at the bottom. And what you get is this gradient of color as the top light blends into the bottom light. Now, in addition to being able to light a cyc from the top and the bottom, remember we lit this in cells. We lit this with individual fixtures. We can control each individual fixture along a path to make left to right gradients, horizontal gradients. And sometimes this might be useful, sometimes not. Maybe you want to have a sunrise that happens in one corner of the stage and then grows up to be full, right? Or it might be a dance concert, or it might be some sort of effect that you want a rainbow of color or complementary colors or some. Anyway, I'm just saying that we have the ability to control that. In addition to that, then we can add cyc to a texture to make it kind of interesting and to help define space. Now, we have to be a little bit careful with our cyc, right? We need to make sure that we are still telling the story that we want to tell, and that we're not just showing off by being able to paint this big giant white drop in something pretty, right? So here's two examples. Where does your attention in these two images? Look at this first image, and where does your attention go when you first look at it, right? And when you look at this other image, where does your attention go? And the designers, for good or for ill, have very specifically drawn our attention. For me, when I see this light cue, or when it came up in the show, I'm going to be drawn to this very pretty, big, giant, colored background, right? That's way brighter than my performers. My performers are in complete silhouette. And that may be the purpose of this cue, to have them in silhouette. I don't know. But I'm just saying that my attention is going to be more likely to go to this big, beautiful backdrop rather than to pay attention to what's going on stage. In this one, we have given the performers some side light to highlight them, and the background is, number one, lit from the bottom. Number two is in a contrasting color to what our performers are lit in. And number three, it is lower in intensity. I very easily focus on the performers in the image to the right rather than the image to the left. It's a choice. What's most important to telling the story? If you need and want that big, beautiful backdrop, great. Otherwise, be careful that you don't overwhelm the stage picture with a big white drop in the back that you've thrown a bunch of pretty colors on. And we'll be back again in a minute.